In this video, we'll try to discuss together what it is the good mindset when we practice Qigong or Neigong, which actually may vary, depends where we are in our personal growth, in our personal process. So if you're either a beginner in Qigong or Neigong or Neigong path, or you're an advanced practitioner, I think you could really benefit from the discussion, at least I hope. When we practice an internal practice such as Qigong, the first obstacles that we encounter are of various kinds. For instance, our physical limitation, our stubbornness, our inability to stay focused with our mind because it goes anywhere, or our tendency of engaging with the mind to create some kind of false sensations based on our intellectual research or text or books that we might have read about energy. This is actually can set us in a very wrong direction for various reasons that I'm not going to discuss in this video. There are probably many other videos on the YouTube channel where I talk about the transforming the practice through our personal expectation or interpretation about this Qi matter. What I want to discuss today is more related to how to use our mind and what kind of engagement we should have during the practice. At the beginning, if we had never done any kind of meditative practice, so meditation or some kind of awareness exercises, the first tendency is going to be that the mind is going to be all over the place, and the fact that we encounter some kind of physical limitation might even stir even more movement to try to escape that process that we're trying to do on a daily basis, which actually takes some kind of discipline, and we try to go somewhere else. It might create some sense of dissatisfaction, or this thing is not working, the miracle I was expecting is not there because maybe I was expecting to have some kind of great sensation from day one. So at the beginning, and then this is what I will try to address now, it's about actually using the practice, so the exercises we've been taught to train the mind and stay on the track. So every time that our mind goes astray and thinks about shopping, wife, kids, girlfriend, whatever it is, or war, whatever it's happening in this crazy world, we try to bring it back. We try to bring it back by executing the instructions that we've been taught, likely by a teacher, not by a book or some kind of YouTube video. And this process of distraction and coming back, it is actually what many meditation practices are based upon. Because let's face it, when we do meditation exercise, it's improperly called meditation because meditation is meditative, it's the quality of the mind, it's not the actual exercise. But what we do is trying to train our mind, not really to train the mind, but to detach from the chaos, from everything that it is preventing us from being just naturally happy and fine sitting on a chair. We're trying to train that tendencies that we have at the beginning to follow just the talk in our head, from that kind of distraction into some kind of meditative or awareness exercise we're doing. So at the beginning, when we approach Qigong and Neigong and Neigong, again, we're doing the same little bit because we are totally all over the place, and so the execution of the exercises, the reminding us every time that we catch ourselves going astray to go back and execute what we have been taught to do. It's a first beginning actually to keep our mind in line and to start also to have some fruit from the practice, because if we practice, let's say 30 minutes and our mind is constantly thinking about other stuff, and we catch ourselves only for a few minutes in the right place doing what we are supposed to do, of course that will influence the quality and the outcome of our practice. So the beginning of the practice is actually very basic in one sense. It is about understanding where we are, which point we are, what kind of movement we have inside, what kind of distractions, what kind of terrible emotions are distracting us from doing the right thing, and what kind of physical limitation we might encounter. So our goal will be very simple, just Not really very simple, because it's not actually that easy to be aware of ourselves, because we are not trained to do that. Life is constantly inviting us with stimulus, circumstances, changes, appealing elements. So it's very difficult and simple at the same time to keep the right perspective and bring our awareness in our attention, actually. But this is the beginning. This is what we do at the beginning when we start to practice. And still we carry on that process, because as long as we are alive, although we might think that we have established ourselves in some sort of presence, awareness, whatever you want to call it, life always will try to offer you some kind of gifts and sweet to distract you a little bit, but once you touch yourself a little bit, naturally and eventually it will be just a matter of time and thirst to go back to that space that will win this tendency of being too much engaged with the world totally. Because I'm not talking about disengaging ourselves from life, I'm not talking about going up on a mountain, which of course will be the best scenario to do certain kind of practices. I'm actually talking to have a little bit of distance between perceptions and life. So at the beginning, what we do with our training is trying to train ourselves to create that distance, that little gap. In this case, because sometimes we practice with eyes closed, one of the reasons why we try to shut off the world and take the space to go internally, it's because it is easier. It is easier to create this distance, which needs to be trained, as I said, even if we are advanced sometimes, because life tries to put some obstacles in our coming back home, so to speak. We have to do it, whether we want or not. It's just the way it is. After this beginning phase, where we start to be more aware, but not intellectual. This is not thought. I became more aware. It's just a natural resting in our untouched, let's say, presence, although the world is still spinning. After this first phase, which might require some time depending on how we practice, depending the reason why we engage with the Qigong or Neigong practice, and the reason, and also we have to bear in mind how we engage with the Qigong or Neigong practice, because if we are there trying to achieve some kind of superpowers or having some kind of mystical sensations, we're going to be deceived all the way through, and probably we're never going to be able to practice from the right place. I believe that we're trying to practice when we become more experienced. When we become more experienced, I will try to mention this concept called wu-wei in the Chinese philosophy. I'm not an expert in intellectual stuff, because it's just not the way that I work in life. I'm an ignorant, practical to a certain extent human being, that I intuitively go about things on my own, but always with trying to keep one foot on the floor. And wu-wei is basically this concept, sometimes is translated as non-doing or not interfering, which is a great thing to do in life in general, but again very difficult to do, because we want to shape plans and projects, and we have expectations about things. We try to make life the way we want. This is a tendency, or at least we try. But if we bring in the practice this art, which is just the product of a refinement of mind, we can have an amazing result in the energy practice, but as well in our personal understanding of ourselves on a deeper level. So what it is, this concept called wu-wei, and again I will try to put it in my words according to my experience. Not really, this is not an intellectual lecture or anything like this. The art of not interfering, of not doing, which is crazy for Western people to think not doing, because we are used to do all the time. We are used to act in life. If we don't do things, we're going to put the money on the table to have some food, or we feel this constant pressure from society, from ourselves, from the conditioning of doing, and actually never sitting and chilling and just trying to, not really trying, being quieter. So bringing that element into the practice, it's an unusual thing for most of us, especially due to the lifestyle that we have, the modernity that we're living, the dumb TikTok video and YouTube short, everything that is trying to grab our attention constantly. So we are totally externally into a process of either skipping, clicking, liking, commenting, and calling somebody, and going out for a drink, for a dinner, whatever it is. I think there should be a balance. When we start to mature a little bit into the practice and in ourselves, maybe we're just starting out with Qigong, but we have come from a kind of training in the past that has already settled down some basis for a center within ourselves. Basically, it is, again, applying the concept, the exercises that we've been taught, not the concept because this is quite intellectual, but the practical things that we've been taught, and just try to them roll, without wanting to develop some kind of special expectation. It's really about emptiness, being totally empty and not wanting to achieve a specific destination. Which again, it's crazy to think, it's kind of a paradox, because we might say, oh, if I want to go there, how do I go there if I don't do action to get there? And life doesn't work always in that way. Sometimes I think we can find out even for ourselves, when we relax, things seem to happen more naturally and they accommodate themselves easier than when we try to push things too much into one direction. Of course, some kind of action has to be there. In our case, we go and sit and practice, or we try to do something. But at the same time, I think the skill of planting a seed or performing that action and then let it sprout, I think is vital. And the vital energy works quite a lot in that way, in the sense that the meditativeness of the mind, so this empty, present, not engaged with the flow of time and thinking, attitude, no attitude, space, whatever you want to say, has to be there. From that space of quietness, of silence, of presence, of no wanting, we act by executing what we're being taught again. I'm talking in the case of a more experienced practitioner, but again, even people who are starting out can apply this concept. So from that space we do the action, let's use this mystical term, the masculine attitude of doing something. But then actually we remove ourselves from the process of shaping the outcome and let the practice working for itself. And all in this way, I believe we can really reap the best fruits. Because vital energy is actually based in openness. So let's think that if we want to shape things, we are kind of contracting ourselves and our experience, and we are preventing the expansion, the sensitivity to be there. So these three elements, the meditativeness of the mind, the instruction, so again, our intention, even though I'm afraid to use this word, our intention to use that instructions goes there, and then our total receptive, not attached to any kind of outcome attitude, actually plays the game, which is just life. If we think about it, life takes care of itself in its own way, and if we want to go too fast, sometimes we go very slow. Maybe if we just leave space for things to be there, things will grow faster. So in the energy practice is the same. If we manage to establish ourselves a bit more into the presence of ourselves, and from there executing some actions, instructions given by our teachers, and then just watch them flourish, that's the best way. Also because there is a tendency that we have, a stupid tendency as human beings that we have, which is thinking to know. And I know it's kind of silly to be in that way, And it's unfortunately is the way that most of the time we operate, which is that when we go and experience, for instance, a landscape or a piece of land, we believe that, okay, now I know it. But we never know anything, because you can always look around and discover a new stone, a new flower, a new space, a new perspective, and maybe you stand on the other side. So why I'm saying this? Because in the same way, when we practice, let's say Neigong, Qigong, whatever it is, it's a freshness that is there in life, in our full aliveness nature. When we go in this way, even though we've been doing something for 1 year, or every day, all the time, if we can keep our daily practice with that kind of freshness, which is basically not knowing, not expecting anything to be there where we do something in particular, although we had some sensations when we were doing a specific exercise, allow us to work like a microscope and to go deeper and deeper into the practice, into the understanding actually of what it is taking place there. Also because we are changing, and we are constantly changing day by day, but when we do the kind of work that we're doing here together, or you're doing with other kind of system, whatever, you're constantly changing. So there is always a possibility to see more. If we come with the attitude, even though you are a teacher, you have been doing this for 20 years of knowing exactly how everything works, we're actually closing the door to life and to infinite possibilities that are right there. So I hope this video was somehow useful. If you want to leave the comment, please leave something that makes sense and it is a conscious choice to leave it, not just to drop some stuff there. We're responsible. If you have questions, if you have a point of view you want to share, or if you have a topic you want to suggest. And again, thanks for watching, and I hope subscribe if you want, and I hope to meet you and see you soon and possibly working together.